Marriage means nothing to having a healthy relationship. I really need you to understand this. It's not that marriage itself is meaningless. No, not at all. But what it means is marriage carries only as much weight as the relationship carrying it. If you're out here seeking a marriage to solve all your relationship problems, getting to that finish line, you're in for a rude awakening. Now, there's so many people's goal and objective, right? And I get it. It's a beautiful stage to get to. But the actual marriage only is so special and so sacred because of the two people involved upholding it to that type of a standard. They're carrying it that way, right? Where it's the relationship itself, the foundation this marriage is built on, that makes the marriage have any value beyond being a piece of paper and legally binding. And because that goal is so conditioned into us, right? It's an objective whenever you're younger, and then, you see the imagery and the model of what a marriage is supposed to look like. It has all the things, right? All the bells and whistles of what a healthy relationship should be. But very rarely do we learn the fundamental pieces to make sure we can build that foundation to actually sit at that stage and have that type of a commitment, and it be the thing that we saw growing up, or that we envision, or that is actually that promised land, if you will, that we're always trying to make it to. Some of you are out there trying to lock down this guy, or maybe you're trying to lock down that woman so that you can finally rest easy that, oh man, I have somebody for life now, right? I made it to the goal, right? To where now things are going to work from here. Marriage is the ultimate. It's like the Super Bowl. And once I get there, I've won, right? And once I've won, then now we in this together forever. We figure this out and all this other stuff. When things come up and happen, but it's supposed to be this harmonious, beautiful thing. And yeah, it should be, but it doesn't matter if you haven't done the work to make sure that you've picked the right partner that's fit for marriage with you. Make sure you're the right version of yourself to be fit for marriage, and make sure that you guys are both in sync with a similar overall goal and vision, going towards the same direction to get to the same place, right? If you're more concerned about getting married in the first place, or even worse, how fast you can get to being married, you're proving to me you're not ready to be married, right? If more of your concern is not in the lane of building the best foundation of a relationship first to get married on, then you're doing this whole thing wrong. But I get it, right? I get why you may be doing that. I get why that marriage is so important, so crucial, and such the, vision for where you want to go with your life and where you want to get to, achievement wise and all that, right? And what you want for your happy life going forward. Completely understand it. But if that's the case, then you need to truly evaluate and look at that vision you see and break it down piece by piece as to knowing what's required for you to actually to stand in that reality. Meaning, as a great mental practice, sit and write out what the marriage you're looking for looks like. Not necessarily the wedding itself. I know that's the fun stuff, right? But the actual marriage, like write out a day in the life of, and break down every little nook and cranny, every nuance you can of detail as to what is making that day in the life of, maybe even a week in the life of, successful. What's making it that happy picture you see with the smiles and, the vibrance, and maybe just kids or the traveling, just this whole joy. What are the components required for both of those individuals in that reality to exist that way, right? Who do they have to be as people? What kind of belief systems do they have to have? Principles and morals, their foundation. What kind of communication styles do they need to have? What kind of patience do they need to have, right? Break those people down bit by bit, and then stack yourself up next to that. How well have you done the job at matching the version of yourself you need to be to live in that vision? And how well have you done of a job on yourself to be able to identify the appropriate partner that can get there to exist in that reality with you? You start doing that truly, and you start to realize those two people in that amazing marriage that you're seeing in this vision had to start with a beautiful relationship first. And that beautiful relationship allowed them to be able to produce a beautiful marriage, right? Because understand, with no question at all, right? Do not be confused. when it comes to marriage, the only thing that makes it so sacred is the two people choosing to commit to that marriage. But if you don't take your proper time and due diligence to do the work, to make sure that you're setting this up the right way with a healthy relationship first with the right person, then that's how you go into a marriage dynamic thing that's going to solve problems, but only puts fuel on the fire, right? You have to understand that the reason why a lot of people wind up having failed marriages and, there's a lot of cheating going on, or there's, a ton of fighting and all these different things happening, and people, bailing and stepping out of the marriage and, separating and living in different places for a while and all that stuff, is because they never did the work on ground zero to build the healthy rituals, patterns, and conflict resolution skills and communication styles and learning what their partner needs and all the things you need to do in the relationship stage before you make a commitment forever. They haven't done it. In short, don't try to take the easy way out through marriage, because it's actually the much harder route once you get there and you realize you're miserable after you've gotten to the finish line, right? I never want that to be you, and it doesn't need to be you. As long as you're willing to face whatever you need to face within yourself, learn what you need to learn, put the work into becoming who you need to become, you can have exactly that marriage that you want to have. You could probably get it a little sooner than you think if you actually stop focusing on the prize of that as much and focus on who you need to be to have the prize. So stop approaching your dating and relationship process in a way that's going to make marriage meaningless for you, and instead focus on who you need to be and what you need to build to make marriage everything once you get there. Let's get it.